Yuan Shang crossed the Guandu battlefield and became Yuan Shao's useless son. Coincidentally, Cao Cao set fire to Wu Chao, and Yuan Shang launched a surprise attack on Cao Cao's headquarters, turning the tide of Guandu's defeat. Guo Jia sighed and said, "In terms of strategy, I am not as good as Yuan." Zhuge Liang smiled bitterly and said, "There is only Yuan Shang among the real dragons in the world. I am not a reclining dragon, I am a reclining insect." Cao Cao sighed helplessly, "I have never been weak in Yuan Shao's life, but I have lost to Yuan Shao's son. When I have a son, I should be like Yuan Shang." Lu Xie's face was filled with tears as he said, "The great Han dynasty was usurped by Yuan Shang, and he even asked me to raise pigs and reform them. Yuan Shang should not be a son of a man." Chapter 1. First kill, amazing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the early morning of October, there is no longer the restless vitality of spring for all things. Yuan Shang, dressed in armor, hurriedly walked towards Yuan Shao's central army tent, his eyes extremely solemn. In his past life, he was a simple and unadorned lactation consultant and video blogger. Adhering to the noble spirit of not starving anyone, but also not starving children, I entered this industry without hesitation. Although he faced many harsh looks when he entered the industry, with his height of 1.8 meters, saipan and's appearance, and agile hands, he successfully reached the pinnacle and became a gold medal lactation consultant. Last night, I played a stock investment game with my 19th girlfriend and invested billions of dollars multiple times. Upon waking up, he unexpectedly appeared on the battlefield of Guandu. This year marks the 5th year of Jianan, and the Battle of Guandu ended this month. After Yuan Shao's defeat, he fled back to Yi City and soon died of illness. Yuan Shang cannot watch Yuan Shao's downfall, otherwise he will also follow his son. Yuan Shang arrived outside Yuan Shao's central army tent and was about to enter, but was stopped by a soldier. The soldier remained expressionless and said coldly, "The eldest young master and the general are discussing military affairs. Please come back, third young master. Get out of here, or you'll die." Yuan Shang's eyes were cold and he ordered directly. He knows this soldier, whose name is Zhongshan, and he is the personal guard of his elder brother Yuan Tan. Zhongshan straightened his chest to block Yuan Shang and raised his voice, saying, "The eldest young master is currently in a meeting. I cannot disturb you. Although I dare not take action against the third young master, you must force yourself to break through unless you step on my corpse. I will fulfill you." Yuan Shang drew his sword and swung it down. Zhongshan lifted his sword with a scabbard to block it, his eyes disdainful. Yuan Shang was such a clumsy guy that he could even grasp with his eyes closed. Dang! The blade and scabbard collide. In an instant, Zhongshan's face changed drastically, feeling that the power of the impact was invincible, and his knife was directly knocked away. Zhongshan quickly wanted to dodge, but still took a slow step, and the falling sword blade narrowly crossed his neck. Blood splattered, and Zhongshan let out a scream and fell to the ground, his rough face full of disbelief. Yuan Shang is skilled in martial arts, how could he kill him with just one move? Has Yuan Shang always pretended? In the next moment, Zhongshan's neck tilted and he lost his breath. Yuan Shang strode in with his sword in hand, feeling grateful that the heavens had not mistreated him. Through a journey, at least he was reborn with innate divine power and barely had the power to protect himself. In the big tent, Yuan Shao and Yuan Tan are discussing military affairs. Yuan Tan heard the conversation outside the camp and saw Yuan Shang carrying a bloody sword entering. He questioned, "Yuan Shang, what do you want to do when you break into your father's camp with your sword? It's completely lawless to sneak into Zhongshan based on your identity." Yuan Shao always doted on Yuan Shang, his expression remained unchanged, and he smiled and asked, "Xianfu, what's up with you in a hurry?" Xianfu is the character of Yuan Shangbiao. Yuan Tan was dissatisfied when he saw that Yuan Shao did not hold him accountable. He solemnly said, "Father, my third brother's behavior is bad. If we don't handle it and the news spreads, it may affect my father's reputation." Yuan Shang countered and said, "Big brother, how did the news spread? Did your father arrange for someone to spread the news, or did you want to spread the news?" Yuan Tan was momentarily speechless. He can't say either answer. Yuan Shang continued, "The matter I want to report is related to the life and death of the Yuan family, but your personal guard intervened without authorization. Killing him is considered cheap." Yuan Tan snorted, "Father, third brother is too reckless. He's really. That's enough." Yuan Shao raised his hand to stop it, but Yuan Tan stopped speaking, feeling even more resentful in his heart. Too biased towards Yuan Shang. Yuan Shao ignored Yuan Tan and nodded at Yuan Shang, casting a look of encouragement. Yuan Shang quickly said, "Father, so you left the camp last night and must have gone to seek refuge with Cao Cao. He knows that the grain is in Wu Chao. If Cao Cao receives news of a sudden attack on Wu Chao, it will be very detrimental to us. Please send someone to support Wu Chao immediately." The key to the Battle of Guandu was Su Yu. Exactly so, Yuan Shang went to Su Yu's camp as soon as possible. Unfortunately, after Yuan Shang went to investigate, he received news that Su Yu left the military camp last night. Su Yu must have defected to Cao Cao. The final battle of Guandu has begun. Yuan Tan looked disdainful and countered, "My third brother is really good at joking. Su Yu is my father's confidant, how could he possibly join Cao Cao?" Yuan Shang said, "Su Yu's family violated the law and was sentenced to prison. In addition, Su Yu's advice to his father was rejected, and his plea failed. If he harbors a grudge, he will inevitably defect to Cao Cao." Yuan Tan snorted confidently and said, "Third brother, you forgot two things. Firstly, Su Yu is arrogant and looked down upon the people of the world, just as he looked down upon Cao Cao after the eunuch. It was impossible for him to defect to Cao Cao. Secondly, with decades of friendship between my father and Su Yu, how could Su Yu possibly betray me?" Yuan Tanyue became more confident as he spoke, throwing himself to the ground and saying, "I predict that Su Yu will leave the military camp and return to Yi City. His family is imprisoned, and he will definitely rush back to rescue them." Yuan Shang asked in response, "Do you swear that you will not betray Su Yu?" "Dare." Yuan Tan answered without even thinking. Anyway, Su Yu could never betray him. Yuan Shang was a bit too young to fight against him. Yuan Shang continued to dig a pit for Yuan Tan and asked, "It's incredibly easy for you to be brave. Once Su Yu defected to Cao Cao and Wu Chao was attacked, can you take responsibility?" Yuan Tan confidently said, "Third brother, Wu Chao is not empty. On the one hand, General Chun Yuqiong is guarding it. He is a veteran general on the battlefield with outstanding abilities. On the other hand, there are people patrolling around Wu Chao, and Cao Cao is leading a large army to advance. It is impossible to pass through. Your deliberate search for a presence in front of your father is meaningless." Yuan Shao has never made a statement. He is very fond of Yuan Shang, and it is precisely because of this that he will not be angered by Yuan Shang's remarks. After careful consideration, Yuan Shao also agreed with Yuan Tan's analysis and comforted him, saying, "Shang heir, the relationship between my father and Su Yu, which has lasted for decades, is like iron and cannot be broken. Your elder brother's analysis should be correct, and Su Yu must have returned to Yi City." Yuan Tan's lips curved into a smile. Yuan Shang deserved his death. If heaven does evil, one can still live. Self-inflicted wrongdoing cannot be tolerated. Yuan Shang's self-righteous analysis has led to the loss of his father's trust, and he will definitely fall out of favor in the future. Yuan Tan was in a happy mood and joked, "If third brother doesn't believe it, immediately arrange for someone to return to Yi City. If the speed is fast enough, perhaps we can catch up with Su Yu." Report. At this moment, there was an urgent shout coming from the entrance of the camp. A scout hurriedly ran in, holding a letter and kneeling on one knee, shouting loudly, "General, there is a secret report from Chao camp." Yuan Shao took over to browse, his face suddenly changed, and his hand holding the letter trembled slightly. Yuan Tan urgently said, "Father, what is the news?" Yuan Shao clenched his fist and gritted his teeth, saying, "Su Yu, this son of a bitch, has appeared in Chao camp." Boom! Yuan Tan's mind seemed to be filled with thunderous explosions, completely bewildered. Chapter 2. Taking retreat as progress, 3 carvings with 1 arrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuan Tan was shocked for a while before recovering. Looking at Yuan Shang's gaze, he found it unbelievable that he had been guessed correctly by Yuan Shang, a useless person. Why did Su Yu betray? Yuan Tan was embarrassed but refused to admit defeat, and quickly said, "Father, General Chunyu Cheong is guarding Wu Chao. Even if Cao Cao knows about Wu Chao's news, he may not dare to attack." Yuan Shang sneered, "Yuan Tan, is it interesting to deceive yourself? If you were Cao Cao, lacking food and troops, and on the brink of collapse, would you give up the opportunity to attack Wu Chao?" Regarding Yuan Tan, Yuan is still speechless and even engages in internal strife at this time. He is simply a fool. Yuan Tan still refused to accept the defeat and snorted, "Cao Cao lacks food, but he is also aware that attacking Wu Chao will lead to us attacking the camp. It will be difficult to consider the beginning and end, and he will lose faster." "That's enough." Yuan Shao scolded. He had regained his composure and said in a deep voice, with Cao Cao's personality, he would definitely raid Wu Chao. This is his only chance. Yuan Tan was unwilling and exclaimed, "Father, what if Cao Cao didn't go?" Report. Another scout hurriedly entered and said, "General, Cao Cao is leading a fierce attack on Wu Chao and is still setting fire everywhere. General Chunyu Cheong is resisting the difficulties. Please send troops to support us." Yuan Shang urgently said, "Father, Wu Chao is in crisis and we need to take immediate action." Yuan Shaozhen nodded and said, "Shang is right. We need to arrange some arrangements. Please inform Guo Tu, Zhang He, and Gao Lan to come and discuss the matter." The soldiers immediately went to notify. Not long after, Guo Tu, Zhang He, and Gao Lan joined forces to enter. Guo Tu's expression was relaxed and he took the lead in saying, "Lord summoned me. Did something happen?" Yuan Shao quickly said, "I just received news that Wu Chao has been ambushed by Cao Cao. Chunyu Cheong couldn't resist sending someone to seek help." Zhang Jia, with rich experience in the face of battle, said without hesitation, "There must be no loss of food and supplies, and we must immediately rush for reinforcements. We have defended Wu Chao, but Cao Cao's food and supplies are insufficient, so he will definitely not be able to hold on first. Please send troops to rush for reinforcements, Lord." Guo Tu's eyes were deep and he immediately said, "Lord, I object." Yuan Shaodao said, "What is Gong's opinion?" Guo Tu explained, "Lord, food and grass are important, but not the most important. Cao Cao's visit to Wu Chao means that his camp is empty, which is a divine opportunity to break Chao's camp. I suggest arranging Generals Zhang Jia and Gao Lan to lead troops to launch a strong attack on Chao camp. Once Chao camp is captured, even if Cao Cao burns down Wu Chao, it will be of no use." Guo Tu glanced at Zhang He and sneered, "Zhang He's suggestion is to avoid the important and prioritize the trivial, putting the cart before the horse, and it's not worth mentioning." Zhang Jia retorted, "Chao Ying is strong, how could it be so easy to seize?" Guo Tu said forcefully, "It's just Cao Cao sitting in the camp. Now that Cao Cao has gone to Wu Chao, Chao camp has no backbone, and you can't take Chao camp. What's the use of you generals?" Yuan Shao listened to the argument and raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. He looked at Yuan Shangdao and said, "Shanger, what do you think?" Yuan Shang sighed in his heart. He had previously suggested that Yuan Shao send troops to support Wu Chao, thinking that Cao Cao might still be on the way and could make some amends. Now that Cao Cao has set fire to the Wu Chao, it is too late to send someone to rush to aid. As for arranging Zhang He and Gao Lan to attack Cao Ying, it was also useless, and in history, the two were even forced to surrender to Cao Cao by Guo Tu's calculation. After weighing the situation, Yuan Shang suggested, "Father, the loss of Wu Chao has become a foregone conclusion and cannot be defended. The Chao camp is strong, and our soldiers are scattered due to the influence of Wu Chao, making it difficult to win. I suggest withdrawing the troops and temporarily avoiding the sharpness, reorganizing the troops and horses to fight again." Guo Tu retorted, "San Gongzi's analysis is completely wrong. The army retreats without fighting. How do the people of the world see the Lord? We must launch a fierce attack on Cao Ying and conquer the world in one battle." Yuan Tan agreed and said, "Father, son supports the proposal." Guo Tu is a supporter of Yuan Tan, and Yuan Tan immediately agreed to Guo Tu's suggestion. Yuan Shang looked at Guo Tu and felt a surge of murderous intent in his heart. If it weren't for these people engaging in infighting, how could they be so embarrassed? In the Battle of Guandu, Yuan Shao had an all-around advantage, but they engaged in internal conflicts and acted independently, disregarding the overall situation for their own interests. Yuan Shang suppressed the killing intent and advised, "Father, let's retreat first." Yuan Shao squinted his eyes and pondered for a moment before saying, "I understand your suggestion. I have made a plan. Wu Chao cannot be lost and Cao Ying will also be attacked. Send my command and order Jiang Qi to lead 10,000 light cavalry to quickly support Wu Chao. Zhang He and Gao Lan will lead the army to attack Cao Cao's camp. Go and arrange." "I will comply. Open your jaw and look down helplessly." Guo Tu and Yuan Tan left with some pride. Only Yuan Shao and Yuan Shang, who had never left, remained in the camp. Yuan Shang was contemplating countermeasures. Yuan Shao Gang was stubborn and determined to launch a strong attack, but he couldn't change it. At present, the attacks of Zhang He and Gao Lan are also destined to fail. How to resolve the crisis? Yuan Shang thought about Guo Tu's obstruction, and the killing intent grew stronger. Since Guandu is about to be defeated, let's first kill Guo Tu to rectify the internal troubles and cut off Yuan Tan's arm. At the same time, with the help of Guo Tu, he wanted to persecute Zhang He and Gao Lan and further show mercy to them. Coincidentally, 1 arrow and 3 eagles. After a moment of contemplation, Yuan Shang took the initiative to guide and said, "What does my father think of Guo Tuesday?" Yuan Shao smiled and said, "Guo Tu has his own thoughts, but no one is perfect. He is still loyal to his father. Shang heir, you are someone who wants to inherit the great cause of your father. You need to be tolerant and magnanimous, accept all rivers and seas, and not be petty." Yuan Shang harbored resentment in his heart. Be accommodating and magnanimous. Does the sea embrace all rivers? Your elderly person has imprisoned Tian Feng in the rear and detained Zhu Shu. It's not appropriate to be accommodating. It's easy to talk about. Yuan Shang did not show any signs and said sternly, "Guo Tuzhong is loyal to his father, but he is selfish and only cares about his own interests, regardless of the overall situation. Cao Cao's surprise attack on Wu Chao, I think Wu Chao cannot be defended. Zhang He and Gao Lan's attack on Cao Ying will inevitably fail and be withdrawn. When the news returned, Guo Tu would inevitably shift the blame. It was not his suggestion that was wrong, but rather falsely accused Zhang He and Gao Lan of not fulfilling their responsibilities and wanted to kill them to stabilize people's hearts. Yuan Shang started digging a pit. This pit is specifically designed for Guo Tuesday. Impossible. Yuan Shao looked confident and spoke, "What's the use of questioning and killing in times of crisis? Besides, the situation you mentioned cannot happen. We won't lose, and Guo Tu won't falsely accuse Zhang He and Gao Lan. In terms of the art of understanding people, you still need to experience it." Yuan Shangdao said, "Father, what if I predict it accurately?" Yuan Shao and his son became complacent and smiled. "Yuan. I promise you a condition for my father." Yuan Shang was delighted in his heart and said, "If my son predicts, please allow me to kill Guo Tu and pacify Zhang He and Gao Lan." Yuan Shao hesitated for an instant, but nodded. Anyway, he believes that Guo Tu cannot falsely accuse anyone. He has always been very accurate in judging people and cannot make mistakes. Yuan Shao changed the topic and talked to Yuan Shang about the military. Because Yuan Shang was deeply favored by Yuan Shao, he was able to stay in his camp for a long time. Yuan Tan and Guo Tu returned to the camp, and the guests took their seats. Yuan Tan looked at Guo Tu and complained, "Sir, there was a slight oversight in your previous arrangements." Guo Tu smiled and said, "Please show me, young master." Yuan Tan urgently said, "Attacking Chao's camp is somewhat difficult, but it is also an excellent opportunity. Why don't you arrange for our people to attack, sir? Once we break Chao's camp, our people will make contributions and further gain power." Guo Tu shook his head and said, "Young master Miao Yi." Yuan Tan said, "What do you say?" Guo Tu explained, "Breaking down Chao's camp is indeed a great achievement, but it may not be possible. The suggestion to attack was put forward by me. Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan broke down Chao's camp, but they were only the ones who carried it out. Once I succeed, I will receive the most credit, and they will at most benefit from it. Once the attack on Chaoying fails, as the executors of the mission, they must bear all the responsibility. I will advise the Lord, saying that the failure of the attack is not due to insufficient military strength, but rather a lack of effort from Zhang and Gao Lan. To appease the military's morale, please kill the two people, Lord." Guo Tu confidently said, "If Zhang He and Gao Lan are taken down, we will seize their power. This is a win-win plan, why not do it? Our people will have to take risks if they go, it's not cost-effective." Amazing. Yuan Tan became excited and said sincerely, "Sir, you are really impressive. With your assistance, I will definitely defeat Yuan Shang." Guo Tu confidently said, "With my assistance, the young master will win." Both of them were very relaxed, drinking tea and chatting. Time passed, and after about an hour and a half, Yuan Tan's scout hurriedly entered. The soldier looked eager and reported, "Grand Prince, Zhuge was killed by Cao Cao, and Wu Chao fell. Jiang Qi led 10,000 light cavalry to rush for reinforcements, but was also killed by Cao Cao, and the army was defeated. In addition, Gao Lan and Zhang Jia launched several attacks, but were unable to break through Chao's camp. In addition, news of Wu Chao spread, and Zhang Jia and Gao Lan ordered the withdrawal of their troops and are on their way back." Yuan Tan asked the soldiers to retreat and exclaimed excitedly, "Everything is as expected, sir. Our opportunity has come." Guo Tu arched his hand and said, "Congratulations, young master. Let's go see our father." Yuan Tan rubbed his hands excitedly, stood up, and walked out. Not only did he not feel discouraged by Wu Chao's defeat, but he was also excited by the opportunity to frame Zhang Ji and Gao Lan. He doesn't care about the overall situation. Just focus on your own interests. Guo Tu had a calm and confident expression on his face, stroking his beard and heading towards the central army tent with Yuan Tan. Chapter 3. Kill Guo Tu, give a gift to Zhang He. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the large tent of the central army, Yuan Shao had just received news of the fall of Wu Chao and the withdrawal of Zhang Jia and Gao Lan. In a fit of anger, he vomited blood directly. Yuan Shao has always been very confident, even if Wu Chao is in crisis, he believes there is still a chance to win. Yuan Shao has always had smooth sailing throughout his life. Although he came from an illegitimate family background, he adopted Yuan Cheng early and grew up as the legitimate son of Yuan Cheng's lineage. Compared to Cao Cao's reputation as a eunuch, Yuan Shao is much better. Suddenly, he was defeated by his little brother Cao Cao, whom he had always looked down upon, leaving a huge gap in his heart. Yuan Shang looked at Yuan Shao, who was feeling dejected, and comforted, "Father, even if we were defeated in the Battle of Guandu, we would have Jizhou as our foundation and we would soon be able to make a comeback. The war has continued to this day, and due to Yuan Shao's stubbornness and arrogance, as well as his various misdeeds, it is impossible to change much." However, Yuan Shang was satisfied with being able to preserve most of the strength and return to Yi City. Yuan Shao gave a dismal smile, still feeling frustrated and unwilling to speak. Yuan Shang looked in his eyes and shook his head in his heart. Putting it on Boss Cao, even if he was defeated, he probably laughed heartily, laughing at the enemy's lack of intelligence and not setting up an ambush to block the retreat. Cao Cao slept with Zhang He's aunt in Wansheng, and one shot harmed the three sages, still bouncing around lively. In the Battle of Red Cliffs, Cao Cao suffered heavy losses to his army. His ambition remained the same as before, just like nothing else. His psychological resilience was unparalleled. Yuan Shao couldn't bear the defeat and his psychological quality was too poor. Who? At this moment, the curtain of the tent door was lifted, and Yuan Tan and Guo Tu hurriedly entered, bowing to Yuan Shao together. Yuan Shao struggled to muster up his energy and asked, "Do you also know the news about Wu Chao and the front line?" Yuan Tan said, "I just received the news." Guo Tu's eyes were bright and he didn't hesitate to show his fangs. Lord, Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan failed to attack Chao Ying. They withdrew their troops without seeking approval. They are bold and reckless. Chao Thief has only a few thousand troops, and they can break through the Wu Chao. Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan have so many troops, but they have failed. This is not because our soldiers are not capable, but because the two of them intentionally did not do their best. I speculate that the two of them may have ulterior motives. In order to eliminate hidden dangers, deter the military's morale, and appease soldiers, we should kill the two as a warning. Guo Tu spoke loudly, "Please make a quick decision, my lord." Yuan Shao's pupils contracted. He looked at his son Yuan Shang with surprise and shock in his eyes. He likes Yuan Shang not only because he looks like him, but also because he is as handsome as he was when he was young. Even Yuan Shang's personality is as unrestrained as when he was young. Yuan Shao was aware of Yuan Shang's shortcomings and was very reckless. Today, Yuan Shang's performance exceeded his expectations. Yuan Shang believed that Guo Tu would shift the blame and create a situation where one's mouth is wide open. Yuan Shao firmly believed that Guo Tu would consider the overall situation, but reality was a slap in the face. Yuan Shao felt a bit disappointed because he lost the bet. But on second thought, he was pleasantly surprised. His son is amazing. Birds, if they don't fly, they will fly into the sky. If you don't make a name for yourself, it's already amazing. Yuan Shang is like this. The slight disappointment in Yuan Shao's heart quickly disappeared, diluted by joy, and he looked at Yuan Shangdao, "Shanger, what do you think should be done with the current situation?" Guo Tu felt uncomfortable in his heart. When has it been? I also asked Yuan Shang. Yuan Shang is just a young man who is still wet and has no brain. He has a bit of brute force. Guo Tu interjected directly and said forcefully, "Lord, the situation is urgent and cannot be delayed. Firstly, arrange for someone to kill Zhang Jiao and Gao Lan to curb the decline of the retreat and make people dare not act recklessly. Secondly, the food and grass in Wu Chao have been burned, and the army must withdraw immediately." Yuan Tan nodded eagerly and agreed, "Father, my son agrees with Mr. Guo's words." "Shut up." Yuan Shao widened his eyes. With bloodshot eyes, there is a strong killing intent. Guo Tu was startled. Suddenly fell silent. Yuan Tan was also confused. With such a good suggestion, why did his father get angry and scold Guo Tu? Yuan Shao asked again, "Shang what do you think should be done?" Without hesitation, Yuan Shang said, "Father, Guo Tu disregarded the overall situation and framed Zhuge Liang. Please ask your father to kill Guo Tu and appease Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan." Guo Tu was stunned for a moment, looking at Yuan Shang with disbelief in his eyes. Yuan Shang, this upright person, actually wanted to kill him. A dog dares to conquer the sky. Guo Tu's angry eyes widened and he shouted, "I have been following the Lord for many years and have been loyal. If the Lord wants to kill me, he is killing Zhuge Liang. Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan have two hearts in their hearts. They are the ones who should be killed. Please think twice, Lord." Yuan Tan advised, "Father, don't listen to my third brother's nonsense. Killing someone before the battle is causing chaos. Guo Tu has no credit, he also has hard work." Yuan Shao pressed his hand on the desk, feeling angry in his heart. Killing Guo Tu is a self-disorder, isn't killing Gao Lan and Zhang Zhu a self-disorder? Originally, his killing intent was not very strong, but now his killing intent is rising. He leaned forward slightly, his breathing slightly rapid, and after a moment, he brushed his sleeve and said, "Kill." Guo Tu turned around and ran out. Crazy. Yuan Shao is really crazy, he wants to kill him. Yuan Shang had already prepared and drew his sword to stab Guo Tu's back. Almost as soon as Guo Tu took a step, the sword pointed at him, piercing his heart from the back and piercing through his chest. Yuan Shang drew his sword coldly, blood splattering out and splattering all over the ground. I don't. Guo Tu turned around to look at Yuan Shao, his face still filled with fear and disbelief. How could he never have imagined that Yuan Shao, a scheming and indecisive person, would suddenly make up his mind to kill him without any reason? Pop it. Guo Tu fell to the ground in front of him, completely devoid of breath. Yuan Tan was also confused. He didn't know what was going on, why did he just kill Guo Tuesday? Yuan Shang ignored Yuan Tan's expression and said, "Father, Guo Tu has been executed. Please give me 800 cavalry, and I will take someone to the front line to pick up Zhang He and Gao Lan, while comforting them." Yuan Shao looked dejected and somewhat disheartened, waving his hand and saying, "Let's go." Yes. Yuan Shang grabbed Guo Tu's body with one hand and walked out. Stepping out of the camp, Yuan Shang first cut off Guo Tu's head to deal with it, and then drew 800 cavalry to head directly towards the front line, Zhang Jia and Gao Lan. While Yuan Shang was rushing, the army led by Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan was on the way to retreat. The two of them looked very dejected. Cao Cao's camp is sturdy, with Cao Hong personally in charge and the strategist Sun Yu in charge, making it impossible to kill anyone. Especially when news of the fall of Wu Chao came back, the morale of the army was chaotic, morale was low, and it was impossible to fight anymore. This battle, defeated. Looking at Gao Lan with open jaws, he rode his horse and said, "Old Gao, we are defeated. When we return to the camp, we may face reprimand and even be held accountable." Gao Lan sighed and said, "Who made us lose? In fact, I agree with the suggestion of the third young master. Retreat is the safest way." This time, the third young master has indeed guessed correctly, but he is also a bit clever. In Gao Lan's heart, he still believed that Yuan Shang was a playboy and just guessed correctly. Zhang Zui sighed and said, "It's too late to talk about these things now. We are facing the biggest problem." Gao Lan said, "What's the problem?" Zhang Zhu said in a deep voice, "Guo Tu has always regarded us as a thorn in his eye, and even more so after Duke Ju was imprisoned. Guo Tu wished he could kill us and seize our military power. This time we were defeated, he must have said we didn't do our best." Gao Lan suddenly fell silent. Guo Tu is a clear person, and Gao Lan's analysis is not wrong. After a while, Gao Lan said, "What do you mean?" With a sharp expression in his eyes, he gritted his teeth and said, "This is the end of the matter. Let's make two preparations. Once there is news that Guo Tu is going to frame us, we will go to Cao Cao. If not, let it be. Anyway, Duke Ju is imprisoned. What do we care about so much? Gao Lan said, I'll listen to you. Report. At this moment, a soldier ran back and said, General Zhang, the third young master is here. I will inform you of something important. Zhang Jai quickly asked, has the third young master brought an army? The soldier reported, there are 800 cavalry. Zhang Jia waved his hand and asked the soldier to step back, frowning and saying, Senior, wait and see what the third young master says. If you hold us accountable, it will be the other way around. If it's not, forget it and act according to the situation. Okay. Gao Lan nodded again. The two of them rushed along while waiting, and soon after, Yuan Shang finally arrived. Zhang jawed up and probed, Third young master, you have come here yourself. Is it because Guo Tu thinks that we are not good at attacking Cao and wants to hold us accountable? Yuan Shang shook his head and said, if I want to hold you accountable, it's forcing you to rebel. I brought this little army, isn't it like I fell into a trap? If you catch me, you can still go to Cao Cao, right? Open your jaw and look surprised. Yuan Shang saw through his and Gao Lan's thoughts. Is this the dandy Yuan Shang? There is the courage to come to the front line and the cunning to see through people's hearts. With a restrained expression, he quickly asked, what is the reason why the third young master came to the front line? Yuan Shangshan said in a deep voice, I have been ordered by my father to come and receive the two generals' retreat. In addition, I would like to give the two generals a great gift to appease their hearts. What kind of gift? He asked with his jaw open. Yuan Shang took off the bag from the horse's back and threw it over, saying, take a look. Open your jaw and take the bag with ease, and start with a heavy weight. As a veteran on the battlefield, he smelled the smell of blood in his pocket. Open your jaw and in an instant, you can see Guo Tu's lifeless face. Chapter 4. Shocking Hebei Second Court Pillar. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhang was greatly shocked and completely stunned. Guo Tu is Yuan Shao's confidant and has great influence under his command. Especially Guo Tu is good at flattery, and he is even more adept at falling into the trap. People like Zhu Shou and Tian Feng have been overthrown one after another. Now Guo Tu is dead. Zhang quickly adjusted his mind and asked, Third young master, what does this mean? Yuan Shang explained, what else is the point? Guo Tu falsely accused you of not doing your best to attack Cao Ying. When I saw him stirring up trouble, I killed him directly. My father asked me to come and take care of you, which is also a relief for you. Who? Both Zhang and Gao Lan breathed a sigh of relief. The two of them looked at each other again, their expressions even somewhat dazed. Guo Tu is really dead. Zhang was pleasantly surprised in his heart, but he said urgently, Third young master, the army of the Cao bandits will soon be killed. We will immediately withdraw from our camp and begin a comprehensive retreat. If we delay any further, we will be caught up by the army of the Cao bandits and our morale will collapse, and we will not be able to stabilize the situation. No. Yuan Shang shook his head and denied. On the way, Yuan Shang had already had an idea and a clear counterattack plan. He threw the ground and said in a loud voice, the Wu Chao has been burned down, and our defeat is determined. But in this battle, we cannot let Cao Cao win easily. If we cannot win, we must at least achieve a result where both sides are injured. Zhang didn't believe Yuan Shang and frowned, saying, Third young master, our army is retreating, and people are thinking of retreating. Continuing to fight is seeking death. In matters on the battlefield, third young master is not good at it, so don't be stubborn. Gao Lan comforted and said, the third young master killed Guo Tu, which relieved us of our worries. We are all grateful. But for the battles on the battlefield, please obey our arrangements. Yuan Shang chuckled lightly. He remained calm and continued, General Zhang and General Gao, as you said, we are all in a state of panic and defeated by the Cao army. We all think we can't stop it, and Cao Cao even believes that our defeat is determined. We all believe that a counterattack is impossible. If it were on Cao Cao's side, we would never have imagined arranging an army to launch a counterattack. This is truly unexpected. Those who engage in battles should strive for a perfect balance and achieve extraordinary victories. This is an opportunity, why not do it? Yuan Shang's gaze was sharp like a knife, and his firm and confident gaze made his jaw open for an instant. Is this the waste third young master? After pondering in his heart, he still refused to agree and said, Third young master, it is theoretically feasible to ambush and pursue our Cao army. But in a battle, not only is strategy important, but also the bravery and fighting spirit of the soldiers should be considered. Take the battle between the Lord and Cao Cao as an example. On the side of Jizhou, they have an absolute advantage. Whether it's the number of troops or logistical supplies, they have a comprehensive advantage. In theory, it should have been easy to overthrow Cao Cao, but in the end, he was defeated. The same goes for this counterattack against Cao Cao. Your plan is good, but when it comes to actual combat, you need to consider all aspects. The soldiers' fighting spirit, the general's courage, and the courage to fight in battle all need to be considered. Nowadays, morale is declining and soldiers are scared out of their wits. If generals like Yan Liang and Wen Chou were here, they could fight a counterattack. They were all killed in battle, and without anyone leading a surprise attack, it wouldn't be possible. I don't agree with that. Open your jaw and shake your head to refuse. He acknowledged that Yuan Shang's suggestion was good, but currently he does not have the conditions to counterattack. After Wu Chao was burned, the morale of the army had already collapsed, and it was a delusion to lead troops to ambush Cao Cao. Yuan Shang chuckled and said, General Zhang, who said I'm going to ambush Cao Cao? Zhang He was momentarily stunned and asked, what exactly does third young master mean? Yuan Shang explained, a very simple plan. General Zhang and General Gao's army will continue to withdraw, and I will have another group of light cavalry. I will lead people to bypass Cao Cao's pursuers and launch a surprise attack on Cao Cao's headquarters. As I just said, Cao Cao didn't expect us to dare to ambush, let alone attack his headquarters. Yuan Shangchen said in a deep voice, General Zhang, do you think it's feasible? Hush. Zhang He took a cold breath. This plan is feasible. This strategy may save some face for Yuan Shao in the face of defeat. It's just that Yuan Shang personally went, what if he gets trapped? Yuan Shao has always been doting on Yuan Shang, and once Yuan Shang has some major problems, he cannot take responsibility. Upon realizing this, Zhang He said again, Third young master, I still don't think it's appropriate. If you're in trouble, then it's troublesome. Yuan Shang felt dissatisfied when he saw Zhang He shrinking his hands and feet. He said coldly, Zhang Jia, my father asked me to come and take care of you, and he allowed me to arrange everything. Now that I have full control in the army, will you disobey my father's orders? Open your jaw and become irritable. Yuan Shang, this dandy, is ultimately stubborn and self-righteous, which is too troublesome. Gao Lan pulled Zhang's jaw and gestured not to be so direct. He took the initiative and said, Third young master, I have an idea to lead the army. Yuan Shangdao said, what are your thoughts? Gao Lan said, the strong have always been respected in the military. Everyone knows that the third young master is very skilled in martial arts. However, the third young master is not accustomed to the battles on the battlefield and may not be able to adapt to them. Why don't we compete like this? If the third young master can defeat me, you can dispatch the army under my command. Gaolan throws the ground with a soundtrack, I am more willing to follow you in executing the plan. Yuan Shangdao said, General Gao, are you serious about this? Gao Lan said, a word from a gentleman is unforgettable. Yuan Shang did not answer immediately, but looked at Zhang's jaw and asked, General Zhang, what did you say? Zhang jawed and said, I agree. Throw out Gao Lan's words, with no choice but to agree. Yuan Shang confidently said, since that's the case, I'll just give it a try. Gao Lan retreated a distance and stood still 5 steps away from Yuan Shang. He didn't pull out his sword and chose to be bare-handed. He waved and said, "Third young master, please teach me." Without saying a word, Yuan Shang rushed forward with just 1 step. Approaching Gao Lan, Yuan Shang swung his arm like a big gun and swung it down. Gao Lan looked relaxed and lifted the block with 1 hand. Bang! A dull collision sound came out. In an instant, Gao Lan's face changed greatly. He felt that his strength was as strong as Mount Tai. Gao Lan's arm shrank in pain, and he staggered backwards. Yuan Shang chased after Gao Lan step by step, and as soon as he stood firm, he punched Gao Lan's shoulder again. Boom! The violent force crushed Gao Lan, and his face turned red. With a thump, he knelt down on the ground, feeling like his whole body was about to fall apart, unable to muster any strength to resist. Gao Lan's face was scorching and even more shocked. Everyone knows that Yuan Shang is a playboy, just a waste. However, Yuan Shang's methods were fierce and swift, his strength was strong and fierce, and he had no strength to fight back at all. Is this Yuan Shang? Gao Lan couldn't figure it out, but he had to face reality and sighed, I lost. Yuan Shang asked, General Gao, is the gambling agreement between us still valid? Gao Lan's face turned bitter and he didn't answer for a moment. He looked at Zhang Jaws. Zhang He was also shocked in his heart, as if he had met Yuan Shang for the first time. Yuan Shang, who was rapidly fighting in front of him, and Yuan Shang, who was in Yi City in the past, could not overlap at all, just like 2 people. This kind of Yuan Shang may really be able to execute the surprise attack plan and give Cao Cao a surprise. Zhang He said directly, Old Gao, a gentleman's promise. Upon seeing Zhang He's statement, Gao Lan stopped insisting and asked, Third young master, how many troops and horses do you need? Yuan Shanglu pondered and said, My father gave me 800 cavalry, General Gao can give me another 200 cavalry. Gao Lan said, 1,000 people, is that enough? Yuan Shang replied, Firstly, soldiers are expensive and not many are valuable. If 3,000 people do not obey orders, they cannot be prohibited, which can be harmful. Secondly, having too many people can easily reveal their whereabouts, and having too few people can help them avoid Cao Cao's army. Gao Lan nodded and said, I will listen to the arrangement of the third young master. A smile appeared at the corner of Yuan Shang's mouth. When he killed Guo Tu, he had the intention of poking Cao Cao's rear, but he dared not tell Yuan Shao the plan, fearing that Yuan Shao would not agree. Now that we have arrived at the front line, not only have we achieved our plan, but also Gao Lan is following us, which can be considered an unexpected joy. Yuan Shangfen instructed Gao Lan to draw 200 light cavalry and merge with the 800 cavalry he brought. 1,000 people gathered, and Yuan Shang gave a separate lecture, drawing various pancakes to encourage the soldiers, stating that as long as victory was achieved, not only would good farmland be rewarded, but also the soldiers would be promoted and rewarded with money. After a round of rewarding the painting of the pancake, it temporarily consolidated military morale and fighting spirit. Seeing this scene with open jaws, a flash of light flashed through my eyes. As the saying goes, under heavy rewards, there must be brave men. Yuan Shangxian defeated Gao Lan to show his strength and reassured the soldiers. By using heavy rewards to gather people's hearts, the method may seem simple, but it is a chain reaction. Yuan is not simple yet. After arranging everything, Yuan Shang looked at Zhang He and said, General Zhang, General Gao and I will take people to attack. You can retreat with your people, don't mess up your positions. Zhang He confidently said, Please rest assured, third young master. Although the last general cannot counterattack Cao Cao, his retreat will not cause chaos. Let's go. Yuan Shang no longer hesitated and led his troops away with Gao Lan, quickly disappearing into Zhang He's sight. Zhang Zui looked at Yuan Shang and his group as they left, with a gleam in their eyes. Perhaps fate is in the Yuan family. Zhang He put away his thoughts and continued to lead his people towards the direction of the camp. Chapter 5. Kill Cao Hong and cut off Cao Cao's arm. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Cao Hong is stationed at the Cao army camp. There are not many elite soldiers in the army, less than 300. There are quite a few injured soldiers, nearly 3,000 in number, with missing arms and legs, and serious injuries. The other soldiers with slight injuries followed Cao Cao to attack after simple bandages. The granary of the Yuan army in Wu Chao was burned down, and Zhang He and Gao Lan failed to attack the camp and retreated. After Cao Cao returned, he led his army to counterattack and chased after the Yuan army. Cao Cao chased after him all the way, determined to annihilate the main force of the Yuan army. Cao Cao led his troops to battle, while Cao Hong, who was stationed, was patrolling the camp to comfort the injured soldiers. This is what Cao Hong does on a daily basis. By the end of the inspection, it was already evening. Entering October, it gets darker at night and the sun sets early. Torches are lit everywhere in the camp. As soon as Cao Hong returned to the camp, Sun Yu followed him. After sitting down, Sun Yu rubbed his cold hands and said, "General Zilian, you patrol every day and it takes a lot of time." Cao Hong smiled and said, "I treat my soldiers like my hands and feet. Only these soldiers can guide me. What do those who lead troops in battle rely on? These are the soldiers on the battlefield. They have been injured and cannot be abandoned. They should be given more care during their difficult and painful times." Sun Yu praised, "What the general said is very accurate." He changed his tone and said again, "Lord, go pursue Yuan's army. Although the pursuit is slow, by tomorrow at the latest, you should be able to reach Yuan's army camp. This battle has been a complete victory, so you don't have to worry about Yuan Shao's threat anymore." Cao Hong nodded and said, "Speaking of which, this battle is really difficult. If it weren't for Su Yu's betrayal, the outcome of this battle would be unpredictable." Sun Yu nodded and said, "Actually, the defeat of Yuan Shao is inevitable. Because the factional struggle under Yuan Shao's command has reached a raging stage, and for the sake of their respective interests, they can frame each other. Tian Feng and Zhu Shu were taken down due to their strong personalities, as well as Yuan Shao's inability to control others. I even concluded that if Gao Lan and Zhang He's attack failed, they would inevitably be held accountable once they returned to the rear. This is because Guo Tu, under Yuan Shao's command, would not give up dealing with people from the Jizhou faction such as Zhu Shu and Zhang He for the sake of profit. In addition to these, Yuan Shaochong indulged his young son Yuan Shang and was also involved in the struggles between Yuan Tan and Yuan Shang's legitimate concubines. Sun Yu said decisively, "If Yuan Shao is undefeated, how can the principles of heaven exist?" Cao Hong laughed heartily and nodded, "The military strategist has no last resort, it must be like this." Both of them looked relaxed. "Kill me." Suddenly, a shout came from outside the camp. Accompanied by the constant cries, there was also the rumbling sound of horse hooves. In the silent camp, the sound was incredibly abrupt. Cao Hong's face changed greatly, he suddenly stood up, grabbed the sword from the weapon rack, and walked outside. Sun Yu also walked out of the camp together. As soon as the two of them walked out, a soldier quickly ran back and urgently reported, "General, the big deal is not good. It's Gao Lan, the general under Yuan Shao's command." Gao Lan, with about 1,000 cavalry, launched a surprise attack on the camp. The front camp has already been breached, and Yuan's cavalry has entered. Cao Hong's heart sank. On weekdays, the camp's defense is extremely rigorous and the troops are sufficient. After Gao Lan and Zhang He withdrew their troops, Cao Cao led all the troops to cover up, with only a few defending the camp. Exactly so, Yuan Shang arrived with 1,000 cavalry and easily broke through the camp, killing into it. Batch after batch of cavalry charged and slaughtered inside the camp. At the same time, these soldiers kept knocking over the brazier and throwing torches everywhere, causing the campsite to burn everywhere. When Cao Hong saw the burning flames in the camp and the soldiers rushing around, he felt his scalp tingling and his mind in turmoil. How could there be an enemy attack? Gao Lan and Zhang Zhu have already withdrawn, how could they possibly lead troops to launch a surprise attack? Sun Yu remained extremely calm and quickly reminded, "General, the main camp is crucial and cannot be lost. General, dare you fight to the death?" Cao Hong widened his eyes and said, "Husband, why are you afraid of a war?" As a veteran general in the army, Cao Hong was aware of the importance of the main camp. He can order a withdrawal, as long as he withdraws, he can protect himself. But the campsite was burned down, which had a fatal impact on Cao Cao on the front line and would lead to the failure of the plan to encircle the Yuan army. The camp must not be lost. We can only fight to the death. Cao Hong immediately summoned the remaining soldiers to gather. Immediately, Cao Hong looked at Sun Yu and ordered, "Master, please leave the rear camp and take 2 personal companions to the front line to inform the lord of the situation in the rear. Please make a decision. Time is tight, so there is no need for the master to persuade you. Take action." Sun Yu opened his mouth to speak, but when it reached his mouth, he swallowed it back and bowed 90 degrees, saying, "General, take care. Let's go quickly." Cao Hong brushed his big sleeve. Sun Yu turned around and hurriedly left with his personal followers. Cao Hong was wearing a helmet and armor, standing outside the Central Army tent. In a short time, the soldiers began to gather around Cao Hong. Inside are 300 intact elite soldiers, and outside are circles of wounded soldiers. Although the wounded soldiers were all missing arms and legs, standing crookedly, they were willing to die. This is Cao Hong's intention. Fight to the maximum extent, delay time to the maximum extent, and resist the enemies of Gao Lan. Cao Hong saw Yuan's army fighting on fire not far away and shouted, "Soldiers, Yuan's army is here. Today, it's time for us to serve Cao Gong. Do you dare to fight to the death with me? Deadly battle! Deadly battle!" The soldiers shouted one by one. These people have a look of death on their faces. This is the result of Cao Hong's kindness toward soldiers. Cao Hong treats soldiers like hands and feet on weekdays. In the face of war, it is only with a single command that soldiers can gather. Even though the soldiers were seriously injured and had limited mobility, they still gathered to prepare for a deadly battle. When Cao Hong was ready, Yuan Shang led troops to approach. He saw the Cao army in formation and ordered, "General Gao, I will give you 200 men. You can lead someone to set fire to the camp and I will destroy this Cao army." "Yes." Gao Lan immediately responded. He left with 200 soldiers first. Yuan Shang launched a direct attack on the military formation under Cao Hong's command. If it were a complete Cao army, maintaining a stable spear formation, even if 800 cavalry invaded, the spear formation would be enough to block the cavalry like a hedgehog. However, these are all wounded soldiers, with missing arms and legs, and severely lacking combat effectiveness. Yuan Shang charged forward with his men, and when both sides were less than 30 steps away, he ordered archery. Cavalry scattered one by one, drawing their bows and shooting arrows. The advantage of light cavalry is that they can scatter their cavalry shots. Under waves of bows and arrows, soldiers of the Cao army in formation were shot and killed one by one. Cao Hong remained steadfast in his defense. Even though many soldiers of the Cao army were shot and fell, they still did not lose their composure. Yuan Shang led his troops to shoot and kill 2 rounds, pointing his sword at the formation of the Cao army and shouting, "The opportunity for meritorious service is right in front of us. Kill it! Kill!" Groups of soldiers shouted loudly. 800 cavalry shouted, like a torrent charging forward. A group of warhorses rushed into the crowd, fiercely colliding, causing the already seriously injured soldiers of the Cao army to collapse and even be killed on the spot. It's not that these soldiers are not elite, they have been seriously injured one by one, and their combat effectiveness has been severely damaged. They were able to follow Cao Hong's orders to gather and have done their best. Still fighting, but lacking the ability. Yuan Shang rode his horse and charged at the forefront, leading his men to break through the formation of the defeated remnants of the Cao army. With a glance forward, he instantly saw Cao Hong at the center of the frontmost military formation. Yuan Shang knew Cao Hong, and at the moment he saw it, a killing intent flashed through his eyes. Cao Hong is a trusted and important minister of Cao Cao. Today, cut off one arm of Cao Cao. Chapter 6. A Fire in Winter. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yuan Shangjian pointed at Cao Ren and shouted, "The main general ahead is Cao Hong, the general of the Cao army. Follow me to kill him. Kill Cao Hong today. Kill." Yuan Shang ordered loudly. Beside him, Deng Shan and all the cavalry followed. Deng Shan was a close follower of Yuan Shang, skilled in archery and horsemanship, and not weak in martial arts. On the back of the horse, carrying a war knife to support Yuan Shang's surroundings, Yuan Shang's sprint was smoother. "Block it, block it." The soldiers of the Cao army shouted loudly. Soldiers rushed forward with shields, intending to block. Boom! Boom! In the blink of an eye, the shield was hit by a warhorse, and the soldiers, along with their shields, flew backwards. They fell to the ground and were seriously injured, unable to lift their strength to resist. Yuan Shang used his sword to sprint, relying on his master's horsemanship to ensure his steady progress. As Yuan Shang charged, his long sword kept cutting down. After his transformation, Yuan Shang's strength was strong and his sword was sharp. When he struck the soldiers of the Cao army, they were all killed with one sword. The formation of the Cao army is constantly being broken through. Even if fierce and fearless soldiers rushed over to resist, under the charge of cavalry, the formation of Cao's army continued to disintegrate, making it difficult to contain the cavalry's attack. After a wave of charging, the cavalry dispersed and turned their direction back to cover up again. Under the back and forth ambushes and cuts, a large number of Cao soldiers were killed, and a large number of wounded soldiers scattered. Cao Hong watched as more and more soldiers died, clenching his fists and wishing to kill them immediately. But reason told her that he must persevere. He wants to procrastinate and guard the camp. Don't rush to fight. Time passed by little, and big fires were already burning everywhere in the camp. Cao Hong noticed the situation inside the camp, but had no time to pay attention. The only thing he can do is to hold the other party back and prevent them from going back and attacking Cao Cao. As long as Sun Yu arrives first and Cao Cao is prepared, it will be worth it. The screams of fierce fighting were incessant in our ears. One by one, Cao's army was killed, but the injured Cao's army was extremely brave and did not surrender or retreat, resulting in many casualties for Yuan's army. Yuan Shang made several sprints but failed to break through the last line of defense of the Cao army, making it difficult to approach the core of Cao Hong. Those who kill Cao Hong will be rewarded with thousands of gold. Yuan Shang ordered again. The command was passed down, and one by one the soldiers charged wildly, causing the Cao army gathered around Cao Hong to die continuously. At this point, Gao Lan had already returned with his troops. As Gao Lan joined the attack, more than 200 soldiers joined the battle, and the originally stalemate was immediately broken, causing a sharp change in the situation on the battlefield. The defense line of the Cao army was suddenly broken. Yuan Shang carried his sword and rushed straight towards Cao Hong. Cao Hong also noticed Yuan Shang, who was the leader of the army. He doesn't know Yuan Shang, but he is young and his identity is definitely extraordinary. Cao Hong shouted for an attack and rode his horse towards Yuan Shang. The two sides were already less than 15 steps away, facing each other in the blink of an eye. Die. Cao Hong swung his heavy sword and chopped it down. Yuan Shang's expression remained calm. At the moment when Cao Hong drew his sword, he hid in a stirrup and curled up to hang on the right side of the warhorse, avoiding the sword that Cao Hong had cut off. In the midst of lightning and fire, Yuan Shang's right hand struck with a lightning strike. Puzzle. A swift and powerful sword pierced through Cao Hong's heart with precision. Yuan Shang's sword hilt collided and stirred forward, extinguished Cao Hong's vitality, and then drew his long sword. Puff. Blood splattered, and Cao Hong fell in response. Yuan Shang jumped up and sat on the horse's back again. He leaned down and slashed Cao Hong's neck with a sword. He grabbed his head and shouted, "Cao Hong is dead, kill him. Cao Hong is dead, kill him." Gao Lan also shouted loudly. He was completely shocked because Cao Hong was a skilled warrior who was killed by Yuan Shang's one move. Gao Lan believed that he overestimated Yuan Shang, but now he finds that he is still underestimating him. The strength of San Gongzi is not simple. Yuan Shang killed Cao Hong, and his soldiers fought fiercely, but Chao's army launched a fierce attack. Even if the main commander died in battle, no one surrendered or retreated, but instead kept coming to kill him. Soldiers from the Cao army attacked like moths, causing huge casualties to Yuan Shang's soldiers. Yuan still had the ability to completely annihilate this group of Cao army, but the campsite had already ignited a huge fire, and the task had been completed. In addition, killing Cao Hong was even more profitable. Continuing to love war is not conducive to Yuan Shang. Once further delay occurs, a large number of Cao troops will withdraw and cannot be safely evacuated. Yuan Shang tied Cao Hong's head on his horse and ordered, "Withdraw the army, immediately withdraw from the battlefield." After speaking, Yuan Shang turned his horse head to evacuate. After receiving the order from Gao Lan, the army quickly withdrew like a tide. In a short period of time, all Yuan troops withdrew from the Cao army camp. After Yuan Shang withdrew for a distance, he ordered a stop and briefly checked the situation of the soldiers. Yuan still did not count the number of people, but at a rough glance, at least 400 to 500 cavalry were lost. Yuan Shang sighed inwardly, if the loss of this force was small, it could ambush Cao Cao. Unfortunately, this force is too weak to ambush Cao Cao. Yuan Shang led his cavalry to bypass the official road and take a small path towards the direction of the Yuan army's camp in the rear. This way of taking a detour and retreating is safer. When Yuan Shang began to withdraw, Sun Yu and his men caught up with Cao Cao, who had been chasing Yuan's army overnight. Nowadays, Cao Cao is chasing after him with immense joy. In the Battle of Wu Chao, he personally led his army to kill the enemy, burned Yuan Shao's Wu Chao granary, and even killed the Yuan army general Jiang Qi who came to rush for reinforcements. Cao Cao led his troops back to the camp, and coincidentally, Gao Lan and Zhang Zhu withdrew, so he decisively deployed all his troops to launch a rapid counterattack. Cao Cao's plan was to completely annihilate Yuan Shao's army and establish the victory of the Battle of Guandu. Now he has been covering up and chasing many Yuan soldiers who have fallen behind, but Cao Cao is still not satisfied. Now it is less than 10 miles away from Yuan Shao's camp. Cao Cao is about to kill Yuan Shao's lair. Cao Cao was feeling proud and relaxed as he was commanding the army to advance. Suddenly, soldiers from the rear ran over and stood next to Cao Cao's chariot, reporting, "Report to Sicom that Sun's army has an urgent matter." Cao Cao ordered a halt. In no time, Sun Yu hurriedly rode his horse and rushed over. Sun Yu arrived in front of Cao Cao, flipped over and dismounted, anxiously saying, "Lord, the camp is under attack, and Cao Hong is fighting to the death to resist." Boom! Cao Cao's mind suddenly became confused. He is now feeling proud and ready to take down the army of Yuan with all his might. Even Cao Cao was prepared for a few days of pursuit this time, vowing to completely annihilate all the troops that Yuan Shao had invested in this battle. Suddenly, the rear camp was attacked. This is a fatal blow. Cao Cao's psychological quality was excellent and he instantly recovered. He is well versed in military tactics and quickly reflects on the impact of rear camp attacks. Are you waiting for news about Yuan Shao's surprise attack on the rear camp and preparing for a counterattack? Upon realizing this, Cao Cao felt that he might lose if he continued to advance. He decisively ordered to stop the attack and quickly called for Zhang Liao to lead 1,000 elite cavalry back to rush for reinforcements. After finishing all of this, Cao Cao finally looked at Sun Yu. His dark face had a hint of urgency, and his sharp eyes were filled with anxiety. He asked, "Master, what's going on?" Chapter 7. Cao Cao is shocked and unbelievable. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sun Yu explained, "Lord, I'm not sure how Yuan Jun appeared." While chatting with General Zillian in the tent, suddenly there was a hurried sound of horse hooves coming from outside the camp. A cavalry like a divine general has arrived, and the leader is Gao Lan. He broke into the military camp with about 1,000 cavalry, killing indiscriminately. Because there was not enough strength inside the camp to resist, he could only fight to death and delay to ensure that the camp would not be quickly breached. On the order of General Zillian, I have come to report the news and request the Lord to respond. Almost in one breath, Sun Yu recounted the news. Cao Cao frowned and said, Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan, the two generals, led a large army to attack the camp but failed. They are being pursued by me and are fleeing in embarrassment. How could they possibly launch a surprise attack on the rear? Sun Yu also shook his head. He is also unclear about the specific reason. The battle tonight was a bit strange, the changes were too hasty. Su Yu has always been by Cao Cao's side. As an old friend of Cao Cao, although he had just betrayed Yuan Shao and defected to Cao Cao's command, he did not feel embarrassed at all. Su Yu confidently said, "Mengda, it can't be Gao Lan. I know about Yuan Shao's situation. Gao Lan and Zhang Zhu failed to attack the camp, and the news returned to Yuan Shao's command. Guo Tu will definitely frame the two of them. Both of them are struggling to protect themselves, how can they attack the rear camp?" Sun Yu said in a deep voice, "It is an indisputable fact that things have already happened." Su Yu also suddenly fell silent. However, Su Yu himself is not the one who is at a disadvantage. Su Yu looked at Cao Cao and suggested, "Mengda, although the rear camp was attacked, Yuan Shao was defeated. This is a chance bestowed by heaven, and we should work together to kill him. Arranging for Zhang Liao's return is already enough, there is no need to worry about the rear." Cao Cao shook his head and said, "Our soldiers are able to pursue and kill, all supported by a single force. The rear camp was attacked, and the news spread and the army's morale became unstable. If the Yuan army counterattacks, they may collapse and have to withdraw." Sigh. Cao Cao couldn't help but sigh. Su Yu asked, "Mengda, why do you sigh?" Cao Cao explained, "Although we defeated Yuan Shao's army, we did not completely annihilate them. This means that Yuan's strength is still there. Perhaps we will have to fight against Yuan Shao again in the future. However, this battle also proves our strength, and we are not afraid of the strong and powerful Yuan Shao." This time when Yuan Shao attacked, the hearts of Cao Cao's side fluctuated, and many people in the court looked down on Cao Cao. Even someone contacted Yuan Shao to pave the way. Cao Cao still fought down. Su Yu nodded, his eyes turning slightly gloomy. Cao Cao burned Yuan Shao's provisions and gained a certain advantage. But Yuan Shao's defeat in this battle was limited, which led to Cao Cao's victory being far from enough. The loss of the rear camp further reduced Cao Cao's victory. Cao Cao didn't say much and led his troops back. When his army arrived at the campsite, the fire had been brought under control, but the campsite was filled with scorched earth. Soldiers, each with a mournful expression. Zhang Liao returned first to rush for reinforcements. Now, seeing Cao Cao return, his expression was mournful and he said in a deep voice, "Lord, General Cao Hong has died in battle." Boom! Cao Cao felt as if he had been struck by lightning. After being stunned for a while, he finally regained his senses and got off his horse, looking around with a slightly panicked expression. He asked, "Where is Zilian? Where is Zilian?" Cao Hong is not only the younger brother of Cao Cao, but also his staunch confidant. In the past, Cao Cao's campaign against Dong Zhuo failed and was pursued by Dong Zhuo's general Su Rong. Cao Cao's warhorse fell to the ground. At a critical moment, Cao Hong gave the warhorse to Cao Cao, allowing him to leave first to ensure his safety. During Cao Cao's expedition to the east and west, Cao Hong followed him to fight in all directions and made remarkable contributions. Now he is actually dead. In no time, the soldiers came carrying stretchers. Above is the body of Cao Hong. Cao Cao squatted down and carefully lifted the white cloth covering him. When he saw the headless corpse, Cao Cao sat slumped on the ground, gritting his teeth, his eyes red, and hysterically saying, "Gao Lan, you killed my brother. Today's revenge, Cao Cao will avenge you. No one from your Gao Lan tribe will be left behind." The civil and military generals standing next to them all fell silent. Zhang Liao reported, "Lord, it wasn't Gao Lan who killed General Cao. The army captured some Yuan soldiers who were injured and stranded in the camp. After being interrogated by the last general, it was learned that although Gao Lan was involved, the person in charge was actually Yuan Shao's son Yuan Shang, and the person who killed General Cao Hong was also Yuan Shang." Zhang Liao explained, it was Yuan Shang who killed General Cao in front of him, leading General Cao to the throne. Upon hearing this, Cao Cao was immediately stunned. His angry face was full of disbelief, and he looked up at Zhang Liao and said, "When Yuan, I also know the name of Yuan Shang. He is a playboy waste, how could he possibly kill his son Lian?" Su Yu found a sense of existence and immediately said, "I know Yuan Shang the best. If I don't become a martial artist, I won't do anything except rely on Yuan Shao's indulgence to do evil." Sun Yu agreed, according to the information received, Yuan Shang is indeed a waste. How could it be Yuan Shang? Guo Jia also accompanied the army. He never spoke up and now he takes the initiative to say, "General Zhang, are you sure that the soldier being interrogated is correct?" Everyone else had this kind of expression. Everyone knows about Yuan Shang's situation, he's just a waste. Apart from walking dogs, fighting chickens, and playing with women, what else would he do? How could it be Yuan Shang? Zhang Liao sighed and said, "Lord, even the last general was surprised and hard to believe. But after interrogating many captured soldiers of the Yuan army, they all said that Yuan Shang was the main general. Moreover, when Yuan Shang killed General Cao Hong, our soldiers also witnessed it firsthand." Cao Cao was very shocked. Yuan Shang is a well-known playboy, who was able to kill Cao Hong face to face. Even now, Cao Cao still has something he can't figure out. Originally, Gao Lan and Zhang Zhu had already withdrawn their troops, but why did it suddenly change? Surprisingly, they came to raid the rear camp. Cao Cao covered Cao Hong with a white cloth and instructed him to restrain his burials and stabilize his mind before ordering, "Bring a prisoner, I want to understand the situation." "Yes." Zhang Liao ordered to go down. Not long after, a soldier from the Yuan army was brought before Cao Cao. Cao Cao still had bloodshot in his eyes and said coldly, "Tell me, what's going on with Yuan Shang? How could he lead troops to kill him?" The soldier panicked and said, "When General Zhang and General Gao retreated, San Gongzi brought 800 cavalry to stop them, and also brought Guo Tu's head." San Gongzi said that Guo Tu framed General Zhang and General Gao, and killed Guo Tu to appease the two generals. The third prince proposed a plan for counterattack at the same time, but both generals spoke out against it. At that time, General Gao said that if the third prince wanted to lead troops to counterattack, he had to defeat General Gao. Then, General Gao was defeated by the third young master. In the end, the third young master led 1,000 light cavalry to charge straight towards the camp, and you all know the outcome behind it. Hush. Cao Cao couldn't help but take a cold breath. It's really Yuan Shang who can turn the tide. If it weren't for Yuan Shang, Guo Tu wouldn't have been killed, Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan would have been questioned, and it is highly likely that they would have rebelled against Yuan Shao. Because Yuan Shang killed Guo Tu and reassured Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan, the chaos was brought under control. Cao Cao wanted to solve Yuan Shao in World War I, but his headquarters could not be attacked. Unexpectedly, Yuan Shang launched a surprise attack on the rear. Cao Cao sighed and said, "This son of Yuan Benchu, if he doesn't make a name for himself, he has already made a name for himself. He is a playboy and a waste, but he has disrupted our overall situation. I, Cao Cao, have been no weaker than Yuan Shao throughout my life, but I was beaten up by his son." He felt a bit dejected in his heart. This battle not only achieved full success without a single battle, but also damaged Cao Hong. Suyu comforted and said, "Lord, Yuan Shang is just a lucky winner and cannot change his wasteful nature. Moreover, there is still a conflict between Yuan Shang and Yuan Tan. With Yuan Shang's achievements, the conflict between his legitimate and illegitimate sons has become even more intense. At the beginning of Yuan's reign, there were many problems." Cao Cao nodded. Although he was grieving, he also regained his composure. Cao Cao pulled out his sword with a resounding sound and shouted, "Cao Cao, swear here that I will wield the sword against Yuan Shang and avenge Zilian. In the following year, I will bring the head of Yuan Shang and personally pay tribute to Zilian." Sun Yu took the opportunity and said, "Lord, although Yuan Shao's strength has been preserved quite a bit, after this battle, there should be no more wars in the short term. We will leave a general to guard Guandu. The rest of the army will withdraw to Shudu to rest and stabilize the internal situation. I would like to support it." Guo Jia nodded and said, "It's already winter now. Hui Shudu will arrange for the spring plowing of the army next year, which is the key. Overall, our strength is still inferior to Yuan Shao, but the gap is narrowing. Every year, we have more confidence in fighting against Yuan Shao." The others put forward suggestions one after another. They were shocked by Yuan Shang's great difference, but had no time to manage him, so they had to consider Cao Cao himself. Cao Cao ordered people to reorganize the military camp and began arranging for the subsequent withdrawal of troops. Chapter 8. Crazy Face Beating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuan Jun's camp, inside the Central Army's tent. Yuan Shaoduan sat with an extremely solemn expression. Wu Chao was burned, Zhang He and Gao Lan were defeated, and the battle with Cao Cao was completely defeated. It is impossible to turn the situation around again. If it weren't for Yuan Shang to pick up Zhang He and Gao Lan, Yuan Shao would have ordered the withdrawal of troops long ago. The reason for not retreating is waiting for Yuan Shang. Report. At this moment, a soldier hurriedly entered and reported, "General Zhang has returned with his army." Yuan Shao quickly ordered, "Spread it." The soldier went to notify, and soon Zhang Jia entered wearing armor, clasping his fists and saying, "General Zhang Jia, pay respects to the Lord." Yuan Shao nodded and looked behind Zhang's jaw, not seeing Yuan Shang or Gao Lan. Yuan Shao had some doubts and asked, "Open your jaw, where is my son Xianfu?" Opening his jaw, he explained, "Lord, the third young master said that he would follow your orders and lead Gao Lan and 1,000 light cavalry directly to the camp behind Cao Cao. General Gao had tried to dissuade him at the time, but the third young master said he was following Lord's orders, and Gao Lan could only agree." Brush. Yuan Shao's face suddenly changed drastically. This antagonist. Surprisingly attacking Cao camp is simply audacious. Especially with the collapse of military morale and the desire to retreat, now leading troops to attack Cao's camp is almost like falling into a trap. Yuan Shao suddenly became panicked. He had just discovered that his son was actually a person with strategy and courage, and Yuan Shao was even more delighted. Now that Yuan Shang is in danger, Yuan Shao's heart is extremely tense. Yuan Shao stood up and angrily said, "Open your jaw, you really. Why didn't you dissuade me at that time?" Zhang jawed and said, "I will be incompetent. Please punish me, Lord." Sigh. Yuan Shao sighed again. He also heard Zhang Zha's answer. Yuan Shang was falsely passing his orders, and Zhang Jia and Gao Lan couldn't do anything about it. Who? At this moment, the curtain of the tent door was lifted. Yuan Tan hurriedly entered. Yuan Tan had a panicked expression on his face and said urgently, "Father, the army led by Cao Cao is only about 10 miles away from us. The Cao army is coming with a fierce force, and our army has begun to disintegrate. Many soldiers have fled without authorization. If they do not retreat, the consequences of being entangled by the fierce Cao army will be unimaginable." Yuan Tan said, "Please ask your father to order the withdrawal of troops, withdraw to Liang, and use Liang's defense." "Why withdraw? Xianfu went to attack Cao Cao's rear, but he hasn't even returned yet." Yuan Shaoqi remained calm and continued, "If we retreat now, Xianfu will be a lone army and will inevitably be taken by Cao Cao. We cannot retreat for the time being." Yuan Tan's eyes twitched and twitched. My heart was filled with immense joy. He had previously killed the strategist Guo Tu, and was extremely angry with Yuan Shang, wishing to stab him immediately. Yuan Shang went to sneak attack the rear of Cao Cao, didn't he seek his own death? It's best to die. Yuan Tan did not express his emotions and said solemnly, "Father, my third brother is too reckless and conceited. Cao Cao burned down the Wu Chao and had an absolute advantage. If we go to attack Cao Cao's camp now, it will be a trap for ourselves. The third brother is so reckless, he has harmed the soldiers who are going. Cao Cao has already killed them. Delaying the retreat will cause more soldiers to die, which is a general who is powerless to exhaust the three armies. My third brother died, no one can blame him. We cannot implicate the rest of the army because of him." Yuan Tan said, "Please withdraw your father's army." Yuan Shao also thought that Yuan Shang was reckless, but he said, "Xianxi, Shang'er is also a kind person." Yuan Tan seized the opportunity to export and said urgently, "Even if third brother is good, he has a good heart to do bad things. 3 years ago, third brother led an army to attack Zhangyan, resulting in tens of thousands of soldiers being killed. Now, because third brother attacked Cao camp, more soldiers have been killed, and the consequences are too serious." Yuan Shao sighed in his heart. His expression was helpless. His heart was even more anxious, and withdrawing troops would naturally save him a calamity. But what should Yuan Shang do if he retreats now and attacks the rear camp of Cao Cao? Yuan Shaoyi gritted his teeth and waved his hand, saying, "Wait a little longer to see." "Father." Yuan Tan knelt down with a thud and said loudly, "Father, please prioritize the overall situation. His third brother's recklessness has always been his arrogance and arrogance. The situation is critical now, so we cannot delay time." Yuan Shao impatiently said, "What's the fuss? Didn't Cao Cao come yet? Wait a moment, wait a little longer." Yuan Tan wanted to speak again, but when he saw Yuan Shao getting angry, he stopped talking. The jaw remained open from beginning to end. He shook his head as he watched the scene. Compared to the Yuan Shang he saw, Yuan Tan's timid appearance was contemptuous, and his eagerness to die was also too bad. Yuan Tan's situation is not very good. Yuan Shao paced back and forth in the big tent, waiting quietly. Time passes by little. In the blink of an eye, another 15 minutes had passed when a soldier in the army reported that more and more soldiers were fleeing. Yuan Tan waited for another 15 minutes, and no matter what Yuan Shao thought, he reported again, "Father, it's already 2/4 of an hour. Cao Cao is probably very close to us. If we delay any longer, our army will be in danger. Yuan Shao pressed his hand on the hilt of the sword, and his breathing was somewhat rapid. He still hasn't ordered the withdrawal of troops, it's just that as time passes, it becomes increasingly dangerous. Yuan Shao also bears enormous pressure. Report. At this moment, a scout entered and knelt down on one knee, saying, "Report to the general, Cao Cao has withdrawn his troops." What? Yuan Shao was surprised and said, "Cao Cao, have you really withdrawn your troops?" The scout said, "It's true that the troops are withdrawing, and the retreat is very urgent, a large-scale retreat." Zhang He suddenly became excited and said with joy, "Lord, it must be the third young master who succeeded." The third young master attacked Cao Cao's rear camp and won. Only when Cao Cao received the news did he have to retreat. Impossible. Yuan Tan immediately refuted and said decisively, "The morale of the army is turbulent. How could it be possible to break Cao Cao's camp? Moreover, the third brother is ignorant and inexperienced. How could he possibly win with his meager abilities? Cao Cao's withdrawal may also be a conspiracy." Yuan Shao glanced at Yuan Tan and said, "What's the situation?" "We'll know soon. What's your hurry?" "Cao Cao has already withdrawn his troops, so don't panic." Yuan Tan advised, "Father, Cao Cao is extremely cunning, so we still need to be cautious." Be cautious what? Yuan Shao was very dissatisfied with Yuan Tan's recent performance and snorted, "If I were to take your suggestion, would have become a laughingstock. In Yuan Shao's lifetime, why did he ever retire? He is very happy now." Although Wu Chao was burned, Cao Cao's retreat meant that he was not a major defeat, at most not a victory. Yuan Shaojing waited quietly, but after a while, suddenly, soldiers hurriedly entered the camp and reported loudly, "Report to the general, the third young master is returning with his troops." Yuan Shao was excited in his heart and walked out with his people to see Yuan Shang returning. Yuan Shao looked up and down at Yuan Shang and saw that he was covered in blood but not injured. He felt a little relieved and urgently asked, "Xianfu, did you really break down Cao Cao's camp by leading troops to attack Cao's camp?" Yuan Shang smiled and said, "Relying on his father's reputation, he broke Cao Cao's camp." Okay. Yuan Shao nodded one after another and praised, "My son, you are truly 1,000-mile steed of my Yuan family. You did a good job breaking through Cao Cao's camp this time, playing very well." Yuan Tan felt resentful and even more skeptical. Yuan Shang is just a playboy. How could he possibly break Cao Cao's camp? When Yuan Tan saw Gao Lan, his eyes lit up and he immediately said, "Father, the person leading the army is General Gao, not third brother." Gao Lan immediately said, "Young master, I misunderstood. This battle was all thanks to the third young master. Moreover, the third young master also killed Cao Cao's general Cao Hong. I was just following the third young master's command." Yuan Tan was confused. Yuan Shang not only broke the Cao camp, but also killed Cao Hong. How could this be? Yuan Shang, whom Yuan Tan knew, was a useless person who didn't study or practice martial arts. How could he possibly kill enemies on the battlefield? Yuan Tan didn't believe such words. Gao Lan is helping Yuan Shang. Yes, it must be Gao Lan who helped Yuan Shang. Yuan Shang killed Guo Tu, solved the crisis between Zhang Zhu and Gao Lan, and Gao Lan finally turned to him for good. Yuan Tan believed there was no problem with his logic and questioned, "General Gao Lan, everyone knows that Yuan still doesn't study or practice martial arts. Can he kill Cao Hong?" "It's impossible. If you want to deceive, it can be more realistic at least." Chapter 9. Yuan Tan loses favor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuan Shang looked at Yuan Tan's crazy questioning scene and sneered in his heart. Yuan Tan is really a pig's brain. At this moment, I was still arguing, didn't I see Yuan Shao's face collapse? Yuan Shang was not in a hurry to defend himself. These words were clearly more convincing when spoken from Gao Lan's mouth. Gao Lan's impression of Yuan Shang has long changed, no longer showing disdain, but rather admiration and approval. And he himself is not a lying person, just what he should be. Yuan Shang believes in Gao Lan, who has carried a gun together. Sure enough, after being questioned, Gao Lan immediately counterattacked and said, "Lord, the attack on Cao Cao's camp was personally commanded by the third prince and the execution of Cao Hong." San Gongzi, carrying Guo Tu's head, came to respond to Zhang Zhu and the last general, proposing a strategy of launching a surprise attack on Cao Ying. At that time, I opposed the third prince's sudden attack on Cao Cao's camp. Due to the instability of the military's morale, even if attacking Cao Cao's camp was a clever plan, the soldiers lacked fighting spirit and combat effectiveness, and it was easy to die if they went for a surprise attack. In order to stop him, the last general wagered a fight with the third prince. He said that if the third prince could defeat the last general, he would let him go, otherwise he would withdraw with us. The last general fought against the third young master, but was defeated with just one face. San Gongzi led his men to launch a surprise attack on Cao Ying, and another one personally killed Cao Hong before leading his army to retreat. All the soldiers in the army are aware of this matter. Please take it seriously, Lord. If the last general's words are half empty, he will not die easily. Gao Lan spoke solemnly. Kick it off. Kick it off. Yuan Tan took 2 consecutive steps back, his expression shocked. How could it be? Yuan Shang is really a playboy, how could he possibly kill Cao Hong? Unfortunately, Gao Lan actually swore. Yuan Shao stroked his chin beard, but a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Immediately, Yuan Shao looked at Yuan Tan and sternly rebuked, "Xianxi, you are a big brother, you need to have the grace to tolerate others. If you can't even tolerate your own brother, who else can you tolerate?" Yuan Tan's face slightly changed. Yuan Shao was obviously very dissatisfied with him when he knocked. Yuan Shang saw Yuan Tan feeling exhausted and took the initiative to say, "Father, my elder brother suspects me, which is understandable. After all, I practice martial arts in a low-key manner and do not promote it to the outside world. Please don't blame my elder brother, father." Upon hearing this, Yuan Shao became even angrier and said, "Xianxi, have you heard what Xianfu said? Xianfu is a younger brother, and we all know how to speak for you. As an elder brother, you don't even know how to be brothers and sisters." Yuan Tan was so angry that his 7 orifices were filled with smoke. Yuan Shang seemed to be trying to justify himself, but in reality, he deliberately targeted him. Yuan Tan's heart was even more displeased. However, he still refused to accept failure and urgently said, "Father, my third brother said he killed Cao Hong, and General Gao also said that my third brother killed Cao Hong. How can I prove this? He seems like a drowning person, willing to give up even the slightest hope." Until now, Yuan Tan still doubts the authenticity of Gao Lan's words and never believes that Yuan Shang killed Cao Hong. Yuan Shang waved and Deng Shan walked over with a bag in his hand. Yuan Shang took it over and threw it in front of Yuan Tan, saying, "Brother, this is Cao Hong's head. I brought it back from Shao Shou, take a look." Yuan Tan picked it up and opened it, then stumbled back 2 steps. It's really Cao Hong. Cao Hong was really killed. Yuan Tan opened his mouth and said, This. Father, this must be Gao Lan." "Shut up." Yuan Shao was completely angry and scolded, "As an elder brother, you doubt your brothers everywhere. It's really not right. You are really hopeless." Yuan Tan was scolded and confused. His suspicion is well-founded, and Yuan Shao completely leans towards Yuan Shang without considering him at all. Yuan Shao has always been soft-hearted, and when he treats you well, he wishes he could give his heart away. When I detest you, I wish I could send you to the 18 levels of hell. He valued Tian Feng and Zhu Zhu, so he confided in them and entrusted them with various important tasks. The relationship has deteriorated, and I turn my back and refuse to recognize anyone. Now, Yuan Shao is also very dissatisfied with Yuan Tan. Seeing Yuan Tan still looking dissatisfied, he lifted his foot and kicked him out. Bang! Yuan Tan got a kick and took a few steps back to stand firm. Yuan Shao brushed his sleeve and scolded, "If I didn't ask you to speak, just shut up for me. At first, you were shouting and retreating, looking like a coward. How could I, a hero of Yuan Shao, give birth to a useless son like you?" Yuan Tan was completely discouraged. With his head down, he stopped talking. Yuan Shao looked at Yuan Shang and asked, "Xianfu, Cao Cao has withdrawn. What should we do?" Yuan Shang replied, "Wu Chao was burned down, and our army suffered significant losses. The most important thing was that our morale was damaged, and a large number of soldiers fled. My father rushed back to Yi City, regrouped, and fought against Cao Cao again in the future. Yuan has no intention of sticking to Cao Cao now, because Yuan Shao's subordinates are in a mess. Yuan Shang himself does not have any strength, so it is still not possible to rely everything on the unreliable Yuan Shao. Everything depends on oneself. Only by returning to Yi City can we have the opportunity to develop ourselves." After thinking for a moment, Yuan Shao agreed and ordered, "Zhang He and Gao Lan, go and give orders. The army is preparing to withdraw. Yes. Open your jaw, bow high, and step back." Yuan Shao looked at Yuan Tan on the side and scolded, "The war is over, go back to your Qingzhou, govern Qingzhou well, and strive to bring me the Qingzhou counties that Cao Cao seized. My son is leaving." Yuan Tan also turned around and retreated. Before leaving, he glanced at Yuan Shang with a strong resentment in his eyes. Yuan Shao had a simple way of mastering various regions and arranged for his son to go there. "My nephew Gao Gan served as the governor of Bingzhou, my second son Yuan Shi served as the governor of Yuzhou, and my eldest son Yuan Tan served as the governor of Qingzhou." Yuan Shang stayed by his side. The reason for using this approach is that Yuan Shao didn't trust outsiders, so he let his own people take office. Yuan Shang noticed Yuan Tan's expression and sneered in his heart. He traveled through time and was not afraid of Yuan Tan in such a harsh environment. When he returns to Yi City, he will manage it well and form his own strength, and then it will be easy to deal with Yuan Tan. Yuan Shao suddenly said, "Xianfu, I have one more thing for you to do as a father." Yuan Shangdao said, "Please have your father give orders." Yuan Shao said in a deep voice, "Our Wu Chao has been lost, and Su Yu has defected. Zhu Zhu must be happy and look like his father is laughing at him. Zhu Zhu people are imprisoned in the army, so go and execute Zhu Zhu." Yuan Shang sighed in his heart upon hearing this. Yuan Shao really wants face, even if he hasn't suffered a major defeat this time, overall he still lost. Yuan Shao has a strong character and cannot bear to lose face, so he decided to take action first. This is not a human being. Without any ambition or courage of a human being. Yuan Shang took the initiative to say, "Father, although Zhu was arrogant and had just committed a crime, he still has the ability. It's a pity to kill him. I asked him to apologize to his father and ask him to spare his life." Yuan Shao was very surprised and asked, "Xianfu, can you ask Zhu to take the initiative to apologize?" "Yes." Yuan Shang answered confidently. Yuan Shao shook his head and said, "Zhufu has a lofty heart and a proud temperament. It is impossible for him to take the initiative to apologize. He has never given in front of his father. Besides, as a younger generation, you want him to apologize. It's impossible, absolutely impossible." Chapter 10. Establishing a team. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuan Shang looked confident and replied, "Father, I promise to ask Zhu to come and apologize, and I only beg my father not to kill him." Yuan Shao nodded and said, "If you can do it, I won't hesitate to reward my father." Yuan Shang asked, "Are you serious?" Yuan Shao snorted and pretended to be angry, "Can I still deceive you as a father?" Yuan Shang chuckled and said, "In this attack on Cao Cao's camp, I promise to give each soldier who went there 10 acres of fertile land and 1 level of official promotion. In addition, I will also give 100 gold coins as a reward. Those who have made great contributions will be rewarded with 100 acres of fertile land and promoted to 3 levels of official rank." After I persuaded Zhu, he came to apologize and ask my father to agree to my promise. The commendation of the soldiers has always been remembered by Yuan Shang. This is a post-war event that he must handle well. Ha ha ha. Upon hearing this, Yuan Shao stroked his beard and burst into laughter. Laughter is very comforting. With a flick of his sleeve, he spoke, "These people are not afraid of difficulties and have made great contributions. They should have been rewarded. Whether you persuade them or not, your request is granted. In addition, the soldiers who have returned victorious will be given to you as your private soldiers." "Thank you, father." Yuan Shang was even more excited in his heart. Although not many people have returned, they have been on the battlefield together, and the future is the foundation for starting. Yuan Shao ordered, "As soon as you receive the commendation, please inform me first and return to Yi City to fulfill it. If you persuade me successfully, I will give you another commendation for my father." "Thank you, father." Yuan Shang once again expressed his gratitude. He bid farewell and left, first summoning all the soldiers under his command. This batch of light cavalry has been counted and a total of 468 people have withdrawn. There are a few people with severe injuries, most of whom are minor injuries and can recover quickly. Everyone stood inside the camp, looking at Yuan Shang with admiration in their eyes. This is the benefit of battlefield fighting. Yuan Shang looked around everyone and said in a loud voice, "I have said before that as long as anyone who goes to war with me, they will be rewarded with 10 acres of good land and 1 level of official promotion. In addition, they will be rewarded with 100 gold coins as a reward. In addition, those who have made great contributions will be rewarded with 100 acres of good land and 3 levels of official promotion." The general has already agreed to this matter and will fulfill it upon returning to Yi City. Wow! A team of nearly 500 people started discussing, each one very excited. Not to mention the matter of promotion, it's ordinary to be promoted by 1 level, and there's nothing to be happy about. But 10 acres of fertile land and 100 gold coins are solid rewards, and 10 acres of fertile land are already sufficient as the foundation for passing down a family. Yuan Shang allowed the soldiers to discuss. After a while, the soldiers stopped discussing and their eyes fell on Yuan Shang again. Yuan Shang continued, "There is one more thing, with my father's permission, that you become my private soldiers. This matter is entirely voluntary. Those who are willing to follow me, stay put, and those who do not want to stand up, I will not force it." "I am willing." Soldiers shouted in the crowd. After a moment, batches of soldiers shouted their willingness. The soldiers in the army consider the issue very simply. Yuan Shang has strength and is willing to fulfill the promised rewards, naturally following Yuan Shang. In the end, everyone was willing to serve Yuan Shang. Yuan Shangjin said, "Since you are willing to follow me, I won't say much. All of you form a team and return with the army. When you return to Yi City, I will settle you alone. You all know some rumors about me. But I believe that over time, people will see each other's hearts. After you follow me, you will naturally know what kind of person I am. In one word, you serve me, and I will never betray you. I will definitely make you eat and dress warmly and marry a woman. Time is tight, I won't talk anymore. Let's pack up and return to Yi City with the army." Yuan Shang gave the order directly. The soldiers dispersed separately. After settling down the soldiers, Yuan Shang finally considered the matter of meeting with Zhu Shu. He had to make Zhu Shu willingly plead for mercy. After careful consideration, Yuan Shang went straight to the camp where he was detained for his education. Zhu, who was over 40 years old, had a thin appearance and a pair of bright and sharp eyes. Upon seeing Yuan Shang, Zhu Shu put down the bamboo slip in his hand and said coldly, "I have heard orders from the army to withdraw, and I believe the army has already been defeated by Cao Cao. Your lord has been defeated and humiliated. Now that you are sent here, why do you want to give me death?" Professor Zhu doesn't like Yuan Shang very much. Not reading, not practicing martial arts. This kind of waste, however, was favored by Yuan Shao due to his appearance and reckless temperament, and Yuan Shao even wanted to appoint Yuan Shang as the crown prince. It's like a big trick to slip the world. Yuan Shang shook his robe and sat down straight, smiling as he said, "This battle is unbeatable. Cao Cao has already withdrawn his troops." Zhu was stunned. He looked puzzled and asked, how could Cao Cao possibly withdraw his troops after winning? Yuan Shangyan succinctly said, due to Su Yu's betrayal, Cao Cao successfully launched a surprise attack on Wu Chao and indeed covered us up. However, when I led my troops around Cao Cao's headquarters, they also set fire to Cao Cao's camp. Isn't it normal for Cao Cao to withdraw? Zhu Shu was even more surprised. He gave a cold smile and brushed his sleeves, saying, "Yuan Shang, why don't you just laugh? It's up to you." Yuan Shang said calmly, "Duke Zhu, do you look at me like I'm joking? This is the fact that happened. Besides, Guo Tu also died and was killed by me." Zhu is even more confused. His brain crashed and he couldn't turn it around for a moment. Guo Tu is Yuan Shao's confidant, who was actually killed, and Yuan Shang even went to raid Cao Cao's headquarters. Everything has changed a lot. Professor Zhu listened in confusion and asked, "What exactly is going on? The Lord has always trusted Guo Tu, how could you possibly kill him?" Yuan Shang talked about things from beginning to end. After listening, Professor Zhu stared at Yuan Shang with a burning gaze, still somewhat incredulous. However, when Professor Zhu looked at Yuan Shang, he suddenly noticed that his temperament had changed. A person's gaze is not deceitful. In the past, Yuan Shang's eyes were flickering, exuding recklessness and arrogance, and he looked like a playboy. Today's Yuan Shang, with clear and confident eyes, has undergone a complete transformation. Professor Zhu couldn't understand what had happened to Yuan Shang. However, this cannot be fabricated. If you cheat, you will be deceived. Without delving deeper into the question, Zhu Shu suppressed his doubts and said again, "Although the Lord has not been completely defeated, he has still been defeated. If he wins, perhaps he will not kill me, but will humiliate me. Now that I am defeated, he will surely kill me. Are you here to kill me?" Yuan Shang said, "My father is angry that you are arrogant and contemptuous, and indeed intends to give you death. I tell my father that as long as you go to apologize, he will spare your life." Ha ha ha. Upon hearing this, Zhu Shu burst out laughing loudly, his laughter desolate and even more rebellious. He brushed his sleeve and stood up, saying, "It's absolutely impossible for me to plead guilty. In this attack on Cao Cao, the Lord has repeatedly refused advice and refused to listen to good advice. It's all his fault. Why should I plead guilty?" A smile appeared at the corner of Yuan Shang's mouth. As expected. Before coming, he had already considered using his personality as a judge and would definitely refuse to apologize. Fortunately, Yuan was already prepared. If a judge does not plead guilty, he may plead guilty. Zhu wants to be a loyal minister and a good general. If he wants to die, how could it be so easy? Yuan Shao's arrogant personality does not mean that Yuan Shang cannot control Zhu. Zhu is very proud, but has talent. It's a pity to kill it, it needs to be used. Before using it, we need to dampen Zhu Zhu's arrogance. At least in front of Yuan Shang, we cannot let Zhu Zhu have such arrogance. We need to obediently put away our temper. After Yuan Shang and others laughed, they also sneered repeatedly, shaking their heads in disdain and looking down on Zhu Zhu. Zhu Zhu had a haughty personality and couldn't bear such contempt. He said in a deep voice, "Yuan Shang, why are you laughing?